States of America. So this house, including the floor that you're standing on right now, is older than the United States of America. Now Sam Daggett, he was a carpenter by occupation, so basically he could build just about anything out of wood. He could also build the frame for a house. He also farmed out of necessity because, well, most men had to farm at this point. You couldn't really grow crops for income, but you did have to grow crops for your family's use. So think of the kitchen garden, especially for the girls and the women, think of the kitchen garden as your grocery store, where you're going to basically produce a lot of what you're going to eat over the next year to year and a half. Yeah, so you're always thinking about what you're going to have to eat a year to a year and a half from now. I know some of us, we have a hard time deciding whether we want this or this for our evening meal today. We call our middle of the day meal dinner. The evening meal would be supper. Now breakfast would still be breakfast, but it would be very quick. Maybe a piece of bread or a piece of cheese to start your morning, followed by your heaviest work first thing in the morning, because it's going to be the coolest part of the day first thing in the morning. You do your heavy lifting through the first part of the day. Come at midday, you've probably worked up quite an appetite. So the family would come in, they'd stop what they were doing, they'd break for about an hour to rest their bodies, allow the animals on the farm to rest their bodies as well. They'd refuel their bodies because food is what gives us energy, and that way they'd have energy for their afternoon dinner, for their afternoon work, and then the evening supper would just be leftovers from whatever hadn't been finished at dinner. So if you think about it this way, girls and ladies, because you would be the ones that would be the ones cooking the meals, you're still eating 3 meals a day, but you're only cooking one time. Smart, huh? And children would begin helping when they were well, let's put it this way, when they were old enough to follow instructions and obey. So generally around 4 or 5 years old. They also had to be strong enough to be able to lift things without dropping or spilling. Does that make sense? Generally when a girl was about 7 or 8, her mother would teach her how to use a spinning wheel here. I would demonstrate for you, but sometimes this binding here pops off because people play with it or because it's humid, so I would if I could, but I can't. But when a girl was about 10 or so, she would have mastered the art of working on a spinning wheel. By the time a girl is about 13 or 14, she is not necessarily married. Anna Daggett didn't get married until she was 21, but she would have enough skills to take over the running of the home if mother was too sick to get out of bed. Same thing for boys. You were tired of how long could your father taking care of the men's work. By the time you were about 13 or 14, you'd have the skills and responsibility to care for the entire farm in father's place.
So now
if he was called away.
Oh, I'm sorry. This room right here was called the Great Room. They use this for many things. That room right there is pretty much the kitchen, and then out back is our kitchen garden. So if you want to take a look in the garden, you're more than welcome to.